YouTube, how are we doing? I just got back from my second trip to the Galapagos Islands. I realize how grateful I am to say that. A lot of people would love to go to the Galapagos once. That's the dream trip that they have for right reason. And I've been able to go twice in 2 years, which is pretty remarkable. I did this trip differently. The first time I went by land. I flew into Guayaquil. I went over to the Galapagos. And I did it by land, meaning I landed in Santa Cruz, spent some time there with some day trips, took a ferry over to Isabela, spent some time there with some day trips, and then San Cristobal, spent some time day trips, and then I flew out through San Cristobal, back through Guayaquil, and back to the States. This time I went via cruise ship or liveaboard. So I flew in through Quito, then I went to San Cristobal, got on a ship. It was a longer trip. I spent 3 days in San Cristobal, got on a ship for 7 nights, and then I flew out from San Cristobal back through Ecuador, through Quito, and then back to the States. Both trips were incredible. I don't know necessarily if one beats the other. I think they were both great for different reasons. And so for this video, I'm going to talk about a little bit of the perks of the liveaboard. I'll show some of the footage that I shot, some of the photos that I took. Hopefully during this intro, I've been showing some of that, and I'm going to jump right in. So really the 5 things I'm going to talk about is the route that we took, 2, the ship experience, 3, a few top memories, 4, my opinion on ship versus land, and then 5, things I wish I knew. So if one of those topics are most important to you, feel free to jump to that, and I'm going to get right in it. So the route that we took, I'm going to show a map here. As mentioned, flew into San Cristobal. I will just briefly say that I flew through Quito instead of Guayaquil, which I highly recommend. Guayaquil's had a really rough 2024, end of 2023. It's quite a dangerous city despite what anything someone might say online. Don't go there. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm sorry to the people there that, tourism probably does benefit some people, but I personally wouldn't go there. And that's just my tip to you until they figured it out to make it safe. I would go through Quito, and I didn't even spend a lot of time in the Quito city. I arrived one day, spent one night, and left the next morning. Just a personal decision. I was here for the Galapagos. Me and my travel partner, Kylie, we got there 3 to 4 days early. We did that because I really wanted to go to Kicker Rock. Unfortunately, it wasn't hammerhead season. Hammerhead season is December to about April. The water's warmer because it's south of the equator, different seasons. So it wasn't hammerhead season, which was unfortunate, but I still really wanted to go to Kicker Rock. It's truly one of the best dive spots in all the islands. And I've heard a lot of the naturalist guides say that, how amazing Kicker Rock is. So got there early, hit Kicker Rock, and just spent some time in the city. I mean, San Cristobal is a cool city. The locals are incredible. I'll flash some photos here that I got of the different people from around, and they're incredible. Some of the best people ever. You can get cheap meals right off the main strip for $5-6 that I really enjoy. Classic meal, rice, plantains, and chicken, or maybe shrimp. So San Cristobal, great time. And then got on the liveaboard. So I went with a company called Ecoventura. I was doing work for them as a photographer. I will say the liveaboards, they're not cheap. None of them are cheap. The reason is it's really like an all-inclusive trip. They have food for you. They have guides for you. They take you to the spots. You really just have to show up and bring some items, and then everything else is taken care of. So for some people, and I'll get into this later, but for some people, it's great. Got on the boat. We went from San Cristobal to Genovesa. You'll see that here. Santa Cruz, the north side. Fernandita, Isabela, and then back around Santiago, Santa Cruz again, and then San Cristobal. We actually went to the city of Santa Cruz at the end. So this was the North Tour. It's called the Volcano Tour, which a lot of the locations were that way. Black rock, volcanic, we saw black sand beach. We saw red sand beach. And really what's unique about this route that we're showing here is that a lot of these places you're just not going to go if you go on land. When I went on land, I went to Santa Cruz and I went to Pinzon Island. You're going to see that there. I went to Isabela. Then I went over to San Cristobal. And you can take day trips, I believe, to Florinina, possibly. I know you can to Santa Fe, you can to Santiago, but you're probably not going to get up to Genovesa, Darwin Bay. You're definitely not going to get up to Wolf Island, Darwin Island. So there's just more that you can see. So that's the route. Second, ship experience. Ecoventura, as I mentioned, was very luxe. It was unbelievable. Imagine a really nice hotel on a boat. The staff was amazing, so well trained, so accommodating. Even if you like raised an eyebrow that you needed something, they were on it to help you. I was there to work, so I tried to take care of myself the best I could, but still, they treated me like a guest and they were incredible. It was completely great. And I can see why some people would love this. And so if you like things taken care of for you, if you like things a little bit fancier, a little bit more high end, if you want to have a naturalist with you at all times, and that's a wide breadth of knowledge. You know, the naturalist guides were unbelievable and you could ask them any questions. Then definitely look into the liveaboards. And I'm sure there's different varying scales of how much they cost. This is probably on the higher end, I would guess, but honestly, I haven't actually shopped around and looked. So that was the ship. I can't say anything bad about it. It was amazing. Third, few top experiences. I wouldn't even know if I'd say a few top experiences. I would just say for me, it's all about the water. And you know, there were a couple hikes that were memorable. The red sand beach was great. Towards the end, we did the black sand beach, also very cool. But for me, I'd also say that the yellow colored iguana is very cool, land iguanas. But for me, it's all about the water, and the most time I can spend in the water, the better. And that kind of leads me to the fourth, which is ship versus land. So when you're on the ship, you don't come up with an itinerary. They have an itinerary for you. And it was jam packed. I mean, we weren't relaxing by any means. We were constantly doing something. We'd wake up early, we would eat, we would leave, maybe go for a land activity, come back, we'd go for a water activity, maybe another land activity at night. The land activities mainly being hikes, or we'd take a little boat around some shallow water and see penguins, or we would see the yellow eagle rays from a boat, or we'd hike and we'd see a lot of the birds, the blue-footed boobies, red-footed boobies, or we would get in the water and see the Galapagos turtle or sea turtle. We would see the, some white-tipped sharks, but you don't get to control it. And so for me, I would have done half the amount of land activities that we did at least, and I would have done twice as much water. I would have also been in the water for a longer amount of time. Some people, it's not their thing, and the water is cold, and so they get in the water for 40 minutes and they're checked out. For me, I have a great wetsuit. I love the water, and I would stay in there for 3 to 4 hours. I mean, it's just like fishing. If you want to see cool water animals, then you need to spend more time in the water. So I would say that's the one downside of a ship for me, but for some people it would be amazing. On the flip side of that, versus land, it is much more uncomfortable. You're moving around with your luggage, you're moving around with your gear. You have to like negotiate your day trips. You have to figure out where you're going. So there's downsides to that as well. And that's why I guess I wouldn't say necessarily the ship or the land is better. They're just different. Still on the ship, we were getting in the water every day and did see a lot of the things, but I just personally would have given it more time. You know, if you want to see all the wildlife by land, you could just go to Kicker Rock 5 days in a row. That goes my last one, things I wish I knew. So I'm saying this about the water, and that's on me. Really, if you want to see water the best in the Galapagos, you go on a liveaboard dive boat, which Ecoventura has one of those. So if I do that again, or when I go back again, if I have the option, I 100% am going to do that. They dive 3-4 times a day, and they're in the water like 6 hours a day. They're the ones that are guaranteed they're going to be seeing hammerheads. They're going to see whale sharks close. They're going to see humpback whales. They're going to see octopus. They're going to see some of the same things that we do, in that they'll see penguins, maybe they'll see the iguanas swimming, they'll see tons of turtles. But they're just in the water way more. So things I wish I knew. I mean, that seems straightforward, but a dive boat's the way to go if you can afford it. If you love the ocean, if you love the ocean the most, second, maybe you go by land and you just hit a few spots a lot. If you really want to see things, if you want the overall experience, maybe the ship is for you. Time of year is important just because different wildlife in a different time of year. I was actually there during whale shark season, and I know someone that went up to Wolf Island on the very north in Darwin Island and saw whale sharks, but my ship just wasn't doing that. That's about it. I mean, honestly, because I was going on a ship and because I've traveled so much, I didn't research for this trip nearly as much, and I've been there before. But I don't regret that. I kind of just took it as it came. If I did it again, I would just really try to hyper focus on the ocean for me because that's what I'm interested in, and I really want to swim with sharks. But you can't go wrong. But I hope that this was helpful. So again, first time I went by land. This time I went by ship. Please subscribe if this is any value to you. This is just my experience. I showed you some footage along the way. I'll end here with some at the end. Hit me in the comments with questions. I'll definitely answer. Please subscribe. I really appreciate that. And I look forward to hearing about your travel. I can't say enough about how great they are, and I can't say enough about how great the people are. Truly, maybe some of the best people I've ever met in my life. And safe travels. Have fun.